All right, thanks everyone for coming. This is our July meetup for WordPress Naperville, and we're talking about membership plugins. Kathy Savatka and I are going to go through and demonstrate MemberPress. Kathy's recently built a site, MemberPress, and I have a demo of Ultimate Member that I'm going to show. We're just going to talk about different features, cost comparison. I posted in the chat window the URL of the site that I'm going to be demoing on my Pantheon free account. So you can see what's on that site as I click around, and feel free to sign up and click around as a user too. You can register on that site. And one of the pages on that site is called Compare Features, and that's kind of a list of features that we're going to be going through. So I should share my screen at this point. Desktop one, share.
It's making me itch.
I have yet to figure out how I can get, how I can get everything I need on my one tiny laptop screen. I could put things on two different screens, but then I'm like staring up into space and everyone can see up my nostrils as I talk. Okay, can everyone see my screen here? It just says WordPress Naperville Community Connection. Okay, I am gonna move my some stuff. Okay, so as Kathy and I were working on this, we basically came to the conclusion that there's two different types. When we talk about membership websites, membership plugins for WordPress sites, there's really two different uses of the word membership, or ways of thinking about membership. So one of them is a community, which is where you have your members are members of your community. And an example of that is the Can I Put Your Website on Here? Ken's Etsy Mud Team site, where it's basically like a simple social network or directory of people. And it's like a website for an organization or for a community, where the main point of the membership is for people to interact with each other or to interact with the users who are coming to the site. And the other kind of membership plugin, which uses the word member, but means something different by it, is sort of a membership site where you have a subscription and you have kind of a paywall. And if you're a member of that site, then you get access to content that people who are not paying for a subscription don't see. So Ultimate Member does not at all do subscriptions. They don't even have an extension. They will in fact direct you to a different plugin altogether. They don't handle subscriptions at all. But they do, out of the box with even the free version, does a really nice community setup that's very customizable with inexpensive add-ons. And if you know CSS or PHP, you can do a lot with it. So I'm gonna just walk through some of the stuff here on the site. So the first thing I wanna, and this is something that I'm gonna back up to the very top of my list. First thing, can users register themselves? Both Ultimate Member and MemberPress allow self-registration for users. And the Ultimate Member, you can also, and I probably MemberPress too, just disable that and have invite-only memberships. Ultimate Member, unfortunately, you can't, if you have a whole bunch of people that you want to invite, you can't just upload a spreadsheet. You have to use a third-party, like user import plugin to be able to do that. There's no built-in import-export functionality. There's also, unfortunately, no built-in import-export for the configuration of the plugin itself, which is too bad, because setting up Ultimate Member can take several hours or weeks if you're doing a very customized implementation of it. And there's no way to port that to another site once you have it where you have to do, it's basically copy the entire database, something like that. Or just go through like page by page and copy your settings. It's there's no easy way to clone the configuration of an Ultimate Member site, which is a bummer. But so Ultimate Member and MemberPress too, I'm sure once we get there. One of the things that you want to do with a membership site is have special content permission or some kind of privacy first screen for people who are logged in versus not logged in. So Ultimate Member, one of the things it does is this menu up here at the top. I can have different items appear in the menu based on whether users are logged in or not logged in. And I can also restrict them based on user role as well. let me get in here. Oops. So you can see that once I'm logged in, I have different, I have extra, the login has changed into a logout button, and I have access to my profile and my account. These are not accessible to anyone who is not logged into the site. One of the nice things about Ultimate Member, probably the thing it does the best, is user profiles. And that's kind of the best use case for Ultimate Member is again, in Ken's site, which we can see a link to. If I go to the compare features page, there's this Etsy mud team site that Ken built, which is an excellent use case, I think, for Ultimate Member. It's, Ken, I'm just gonna show the new site, sorry. This is exactly what Ultimate Member does well, which is allow people to create profiles and then gives you a way to search profiles. So if I want to type in a particular type of pottery glaze or something, this is a site for people who work in ceramics. It allows you to define the custom fields that are in profiles. It allows you to set up searches and filters based on any of those fields. And then you can, this sort of member gallery that is created, you can create any number of these member galleries and have them separated by role, have them separated by region, apply whatever filters you want to each of them. So it's really, Ultimate Member is really a great way to display and interact with groups of people. So on the My Profile page in Ultimate Member, you have your profile fields, which are totally customizable. I decided that this little demo was going to be a board game club where people want to list all the board games they want to play. So I made fields that are what board games you're interested in. And if you are a user, you can edit these. There's plenty of fields of location. There's a lot of default fields like birth date, gender, country. You can have a map, you can point your location on a map. And these are all configurable in the back end via this cute little form builder that is pretty easy to use. So if you're an admin, you can just put whatever you want on the user's profiles. When they sign up, you can also set them to be required or not required. So when they sign up, users have the option to enter fields or leave them blank. In Ultimate Member, users have the option to hide their profiles from everyone, or rather, the admin can allow them the ability to hide their profiles from everyone if they want to be private for some reason on the site. But in general, it's meant to be an interactive way of looking at other users. Member directories, they're a custom post type. You just create them if you're the admin and put them on the pages with a short code. Very old school style. So in my member directory that I've made, these are, thanks everyone who signed up for the site. Oh, hey, Pat's there too. And I can search for a word and see where it shows up in people's profiles. Or I have filters, and I could be filtering by, I could create filters out of any of the custom fields that I created on profiles. So you can see how if you have a club or an organization, something like that, you could, or I don't know, even if you had things for sale, maybe there's a lot of different applications for this sort of filtering people and directing them to each other. Everyone's profile has an image they can upload, background image if they want, and then you can see people's profiles, or they can choose to have them private. Users can post as the admin. You have the ability to, you can tie users when they sign up. You can assign them a default role like subscriber, or you could assign them a more high-level role like author, in which case they would have the ability to create posts. One drawback of this is that for the users who have the ability to create posts, authors and editors, you actually need to send them to the WordPress backend to do that, which is not an ideal user experience if people aren't used to WordPress, or if people are expecting to just have a social network on the site or sort of their own private website. It's not a great experience to send them to the backend to create posts. So you would have to, I recently did a project where we had the post form on the front end, and we had to use a third-party plugin to get posts to be editable on the front end. I'm just talking, so if anyone has any questions or anything, put them in the chat or just sing out. I'll have my chat window open so I can see if anyone asks a question. So the user profiles are highly customizable, and it's really easy to do. A lot of what you see here on these profiles, and also in the account, let me get to my own account so I can show you what it looks like when you're editing your own account. So your own account has, you can change your password, you can set your privacy to be who can see you. Do you want to be listed in the directories, yes or no? And of course, the GDPR options for exporting all your personal data and deleting all your personal data, which are required by law in Europe and I think California. A lot of this is configurable in the Ultimate Member admin panel, but not, sorry, but not everything. It is highly customizable if you are willing to deal with PHP and CSS in the templates. It's kind of like if anyone's customized events calendar, it's kind of like that where it works like that, where if you take any file out of the plugin and put it in a special directory called Ultimate Member in your theme, it'll load your version of the file instead of the plugin's version of the file. So you could go to a page like my profile, and you could just take out any of this that you didn't like you could take out the gray bar, you could delete the posts tab and the comments tab, and then just show your version of the page instead. But in order to do that, you have to be willing to get in the templates and dig around a little bit. So Ken and the, okay, so I'm going to catch up on the chat questions. Donna asks, can users interact with each other? Yes, with extensions. So by default, a lot of it depends on what WordPress capabilities you assign to the user roles. If you make the members authors, then they can create posts and then they can comment on each other's posts. There's also, there's also extensions that allow for more interactivity. So there's extensions, the extensions range from like $40 to $60. Private messages gives you a chat functionality where users can chat to each other. And it's very private, they're super private. They're stored in custom tables in the database that other plugins and WordPress itself can't access. And so you pretty much have to be logged into the site to see each other's private messages or to chat together. So there's that. And there's also a groups, forum WP integration and a groups integration. Where's my groups? Okay, there's a groups extension. That's so weird that it's not here. There we go, groups. Groups allows you to assign, basically to create discussion boards that are sort of like categories. And on these discussion boards, users can post through the front end without having to go to the back end. So it's just almost like posting on Facebook. You get a little text area to type into. And then you can post and then comment on each other's posts. That is limited in that you don't have the full capability of the WordPress editor. You're basically just typing in text and uploading images, but it lets people have kind of a discussion board community feel. Does that answer your questions, Anna? Thanks, great. And Ken says that Ultimate Member profiles can have various types of fields and sites. You can make attractive galleries where members can upload their pics. I didn't, you probably did that on the site that you worked on, right? Can I click through one of these? You're muted, do you mind unmuting and tell me where to click? I'm gonna unmute you.
Why am I not?
There you go, there you go.
So if you click into a profile, some of them didn't fill it out. Some of them, not everybody used that, but yeah, there's some.
Oh, I see. So these are uploaded to their user profile.
They did, yeah, they put them in. So we just gave them up to 10 slots and they could put in samples of their work.
Oh. Yeah, that's nice. And that's kind of like, this is kind of how Ultimate Member Ultimate Member is very user profile focused. Like you can do pretty much anything you want with the user profile, build it out anyway, but it's hard to have members interacting or generating content outside of the user profile unless you use an extension or you're setting up to create blog posts, both of which are doable, but the user profile editing is, I think, where Ultimate Member really shines. One of the extensions is called Profile Completeness, and it basically just, I think, sends them emails and harasses people who don't fill out their profiles. So you can pay a little extra to encourage them to fill out their forms. Yeah, and it's got these Facebook, Twitter, and URL fields are all built into the form builder, so you don't even have to worry about you know, making your own fields for Facebook. Just click the Add Facebook Field button, and a lot of other fields are built into, like email address, phone number, gender, birth date. There's a date picker and a time picker. It's a really handy little form builder. Okay, what am I doing? So in terms of the site in general, if you're an admin, you can restrict content on a page-by-page basis. At the bottom of every page, there's this content restriction section, and you can either allow it to be WordPress default, which is visible to everyone on the internet, or you can restrict access, and then it gives you all these options for like which particular roles can see it. Do you have a global privacy message, or do you have a custom one on this page? This works, but it's really sensitive to the cache. If your website host or your website itself has any caching, this sort of thing can take ages to clear the cache, because I think it's operating at almost like a server level. So it can be kind of frustrating to try to get this to work. And honestly, there's a couple of times where I have just not gotten it to work. Like it's supposed to redirect users sometimes, and there was a couple times on the project that I just did where I just never got a page to redirect. I never got the setting to work correctly. Sometimes it worked right off the bat. I blame caching, weird caching for that. I don't know if it's the plugin's fault or the host's fault in that case. I also want to show you, this is kind of neat. This is in Ultimate Member settings. So along with creating forms for the profiles, you can also define your own roles. So it loads this section with all the WordPress default roles. And you can also create your own roles. Like you could create a role that's just member. And then I'll just show you the screen real quick. And then it gives you this whole list of permissions, like can they access the back end? Do they get to see the admin bar? Do they have, you could have a member who's sort of an admin, an administrator or moderator for members. They could edit other people's accounts, but not edit anything else on your site and not have access to the back end. You could create different levels of membership that have different permissions, whether they can, what pages they're taken to after they log in, whether they're auto-approved or whether an admin has to approve their membership. And then it gives you the full list of WordPress capabilities. Do you want some people to be able to upload files and others not? Do you want some people to be able to publish pages or delete pages and others to just be able to create drafts? So it's got a really nice role management capability if you need to build that sort of thing into how you're conceptualizing the different types of people who are going to be on the website. Nancy McKissick is asking if there's a limit to the number of members in Ultimate Member or MemberPress. I don't know if there is. I would have to look that up. I'm actually going to have to Google that. I haven't encountered a limit or seen a limit mentioned in the documents. Theoretically, there must be a limit, but it's not like you get the plugin and it says you can only add 100 members. For Ultimate Member, at least, it's not an issue. They're just users in WordPress, so it doesn't really care how many there are, as far as I can tell. So we can restrict content on a page-by-page basis with that restrict content checkbox. We can restrict menu items, and that's just done in the menu with Appearance menus. Here's my menus. That's just done on the menus with the same thing. There's an Ultimate Member menu settings. Who can see this? Everyone, logged in users and logged out users are your choices. And what you can't do in Ultimate Member is restrict content within a page. Like if I had my compare features, some plugins that restrict content allow you to use shortcodes or blocks to define chunks of a page that are different, that are visible to different people. In Ultimate Member, it's the whole page or not. You can't say that people who are logged into a certain membership will see this and everybody else sees this. It's just, the only distinction is, are you logged in or not? And is the whole page visible or is the whole page hidden for you? And I think with MemberPress, you can do it more in sections on a page. And I know with some other restrict content plugins, you can do section by section on a page too. And like I said at the beginning, there's absolutely no setup for payment or for charging people to be members on the site. You would have to implement some sort of third-party solution for that if you wanted to use Ultimate Member to control your, control the profiles for a kind of paid membership site. And I have done that before. I had a website where I had Ultimate Member for the profiles because we needed very nice user profiles. And then I had WooCommerce subscription. I think it's WooCommerce membership and subscription plugins managing the payment and the, the expiration of people's access and the emails that you get sent when you're about to expire telling you need to renew. So you could use Ultimate Member for a site that you charged people for subscriptions, but it would not be the plugin that manages the subscriptions. You would be setting yourself up to have to deal with at least one other plugin to do the subscriptions for you. That's about all I have for Ultimate Member. Does anyone have any other questions, or is there anything else we want to look at? Otherwise, I'm going to turn it over to Kathy and let her walk you through MemberPress, which does things kind of differently. All right, Kathy, I'm making you co-host. Oh, I'm making you host. You should be able to share now.
Claire, yeah? Can I ask a question?
Sure, yeah.
I'm in a group who's been thinking about building something like this versus building like a Facebook group. Have you had any conversations with people on how they made that decision that this was the path they wanted to go to a completely different kind of venue?
Yeah, I recently launched a pretty elaborate customization of Ultimate Member for a client that had a big budget. And they decided that they wanted it because it was simpler. They have a range of, I think, less technical users who just felt like Facebook was too much. They wanted it to be a very controlled environment, very simple interface, and they wanted to own it. Basically, they wanted to have absolute control over the privacy of the documents they posted. So those were the considerations: the simplicity of the interface and the control over privacy and content that they knew they would get if they had their own solution versus Facebook. There's arguments either way. I could see Facebook is free, easy, and everyone kind of knows how to use it.
Everyone knows how to use it, but there's lots of ads, and it's got a lot of a lot of bloatware. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, yeah. The client that I just did the project for also had. They're really invested in their own branding, and they were willing to pay for a simple social network that looked like their website. That they wanted. They're kind of a higher end client, and they wanted it when their users logged in to feel like they were on this special custom designed for them website, I think.
Is there a feed? Did I see a feed?
A feed of what?
People post and
like
you
a
can
wall?
see.
On.
Do you want to take the screen back?
There isn't really. What there is if you were using the groups plugin, you would have sort of each group has its own wall where you can see everyone's posts and comments, but there isn't an overall feed for the site unless you like had people making blogs, and then you would just blog post, and then you could just say that your blog was the feed. Or if you're using one of the extensions like the job board extension, something like that. But Ultimate Member itself doesn't have a kind of all users activity feed like I think you're thinking of with Facebook would do.
Well, a post is kind of like a blog, and comments on a post on a blog post could be seen as comments on a post.
Yeah. If you think of like the basic WordPress features, like you could rearrange those into kind of a wall-like structure or user experience. You would be then basically just using what WordPress has inherently, and then probably styling it or arranging it so it looked like what you thought of in terms of what your wall needed to look like.
One thing I did some time ago, and I'm trying to remember all the details, but you had mentioned that Ultimate Member didn't have a way to take people in from a external source or a spreadsheet or something. And I did manage to do that very thing with another plugin that was meant to register people, and then I lined up certain fields with fields that Ultimate Member had already defined, and that did work. It's kind of a kludgy Frankenstein way of doing it, but it actually did.
Well, that's half of what we do in WordPress if it works. Do you remember the name of the plugin?
No, but I could get it.
Yeah, I did. I ended up doing a WordPress or an import from a spreadsheet too when I set up my clients' users. And I think I can get the name of the plugin in just a second here.
Yeah, I'll do a little looking on my side here.
I think it was literally called like user import plugin. I'll show you the website, unfortunately, because it's super secret and everybody's private information is on it. Oh yeah, it was called Import and Export Users and Customers. That's the plugin that I use to import from a spreadsheet. And yeah, it worked pretty well. It only took me probably like an hour to figure out, which is for me pretty good, an hour to figure out how to use it and get people imported, right?
I think the main trick was making sure that what you import lines up with certain fields that match.
You basically have to make sure that your headers are exactly match the labels in the custom profile feeds you've made, which is pretty much the same as any other import you would do of that complexity. So yeah, there's a little learning curve, but it's definitely doable. Anything else about Ultimate Member, or shall we have Kathy start with MemberPress? Okay, take it away, Kathy. You got to share screen again.
Oh, wait,
Kathy is joining us from Hawaii. That's why she's green.
There's another chat comment.
Oh. Donna tested Ultimate Member and checking strong password didn't seem to do anything. It allowed a weak password. I don't know. I haven't tested that. That could well be a bug in the plugin. The plugin I've noticed a couple glitches in the plugin myself. It's not perfect. So yeah, that could be fighting with WordPress or some other plugin as well, some sort of conflict. Yeah, you shouldn't be allowing weak passwords if you're allowing people to sign up for your website. That's a guaranteed way to get hacked. Okay, Kathy, if you want to share your screen, great. I'm going to mute myself.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Can you see me now? Hold on. Hide stuff. If I hide too many things, I won't know how to get back. All right, so one thing I did want to kind of go through, come back here, some comments that go along with what Claire said, things that MemberPress can and can't do in relationship to Ultimate Member. First of all, there's no free option. It's $179 for the first year and then $279 every year thereafter. It's more robust. It's really, like Claire said, we were talking and we realized membership meant different things. And this one really is more for paid memberships, if you're going to set up a member community, and also courses. You could originally have created an online course and put it behind MemberPress using something like LearnDash or something like that. But they have now come up with their own add-on, and it comes included with this plugin, this MemberPress plugin. I haven't used it, but I've heard really good things about it. So I only downloaded it onto my client's site, which is the only place I have this loaded right now, because I'm not ready to buy it myself. And there really isn't a licensing per se. I think we're looking at that. I'll look at the prices in a second, but I think, right, Claire, it was like a max of 5 sites. It wasn't.
Yeah, yeah. The levels are 1 site, 3 sites, and 5 sites. I think you can't just buy it and use it wherever you want.
Yeah, so that I just ended up having the client pay for it. I told them what it was, how much it cost, and then I set it up for them, and they're the owners, which is good. You know, then they can keep up the billing and the payments and all that stuff. And if I were to fall off the face of the earth, as Claire says, they could go on. Their business could go on. So not a community tool. It's as far as I know, and other people may know differently, I honestly didn't see almost any of the stuff that Claire just went over as far as community. Being able to see other people's profiles, being able to comment to each other. But I will tell you, I'm going to show you a page that it integrates with a boatload of stuff that's out there. So it integrates with Buddypress. So if that's something that you want to add on, you can do that using Buddypress, or it probably has some other ones as well. So I think for that kind of functionality, if you want to get into the community aspect of it, you could probably integrate it with something that's already out there. I don't know. And as an alternative, like a lot of people have done their community on Facebook, but I'm in a group now where the community is on Circle. And that's actually worked out really well. It doesn't have all the hangups and crap that goes on with Facebook. It's very clean and easy to deal with. So that may be an alternative for your community option. So its main uses really are membership sites, paid or unpaid. It doesn't have to be paid. And what I set up for my client here, which is super basic, was unpaid. He had collected money from them, but offline. So what I set up for them was just strictly, they had to know the login and password to get in. You can sell and run online courses. Like I said, they now have their own LMS, and I haven't played with it, but just installed it to play with it. I'm very interested in that. And it has been getting good reviews. And in fact, MemberPress itself has, I see really the majority of the reviews, because I just kind of look around out there and do things like search MemberPress sucks, you know, just to see if there's anything out there like that. And I didn't really see anything like that. So there's a few disgruntled people, but the overwhelming majority really like the plugin. So there's that. And you can also do digital downloads as well. This is really good for evergreen courses. As I was looking at it, I'm just like, man, it handles everything. You set up your lead page, you know, and you can go from there, link over to purchasing the membership or the course. And so you can set it up. It integrates with Stripe and PayPal and Authorize.net and a bunch of other stuff. So you can do the payment. Then they can go ahead. They can create their own profile once their payment's received, and then they get access strictly to whatever they purchase. So if you have bronze, silver, and gold levels and they bought the silver, they'll only see silver options. So, I mean, super cool, soup to nuts kind of. You can hide and show content on a page, which is cool, very specific. I don't know that I can necessarily think of a reason to do that, but I'm sure there is one. This is one of those programs where you'll look at stuff and go, when would I need that? Or why would I need that? And you'll know it when you need it. I find that to be true with a lot of software. When your client says, I need it to do this, and you're like, I don't know if we can do that. And then you go look and you find out there is an option. So something like hiding partial content on a page is possible. Apparently they saw a need for it, and it can do that. You can restrict, there's a ton of rules you can set up. You can restrict pages, child pages, posts, custom post types, categories, tags, anything, basically any way you wanna do it. You can also restrict based on specific members or memberships. It'll do anything for you. Members can create, update, upgrade, or cancel their subscription. So the super cool thing about updating, I'll cover that again too, is that, or not updating, but upgrading. If they're on silver and they want to go gold, they can just handle that themselves. You just have to tick that in the settings as an option for your members to do. And it will automatically prorate. It will start their membership at this new date. And that's when they'll get billed at the new date. And then it'll prorate for whatever they've paid for already. Super smart. You can import members from other programs, and you can migrate this as well. I haven't tried to do it, so I'm not sure how hairy that is, but it does say you can do that. And it says you can import memberships from other programs. That to me sounds like it might be very difficult. But, you know, I guess if it depends how hairy you want things to be. You may be able to change user roles. That was something Claire mentioned. The users, when they sign up, it works off of the WordPress user feature. You know, how there's admin, subscriber, editor, that kind of thing. So it's actually using the WordPress tools for that. So you can view all your users in your admin, your regular WordPress admin, and you'll see which ones are members and which ones are just maybe were members through the site or other admins, that kind of thing. And you can individually change people's roles if you want. They cannot change their own roles, of course. Integrate with Buddypress, mentioned that. Content on a page. Integrations, just some, I'm going to show you a fuller list, but just for the things that I know people like our group was using. Works well with Divi, which is actually why I looked this up, because the client that I use this with was on Divi. So they recommend this. This is their #1 membership plugin they recommend. Elementor, Beaver Builder, Bakery, WP Bakery, StudioPress, Woo Themes, basically any theme. Some themes may have some conflict, and they actually have a list of known conflicts and how to solve them. So their documentation is really good. Integrating also with Constant Contact, MailChimp, Aweber, ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit for emails. For payments, Stripe, PayPal, Paystack, Authorize.net, and a few others I'd never heard of before. Of course, Zapier, which basically connects everything with everything. If you do lead pages or Entreport, it will integrate with that. And then, of course, LearnDash, and it has its own course LMS. Claire, you mentioned the caching issue. I got to take a drink here. My mouth's super dry. That was something that I came across. It was they made a point of discussing the type of hosting you get to make sure that you are able to deactivate caching. Of course, GoDaddy was a no-go because there's just certain caching they either won't turn off or can't turn off. And like Claire said, in these kind of things, there's changing going on a lot, and you want people to see the latest and greatest. So the hosts like SiteGround, Bluehost, WP Engine, and other ones, of course, you can use, they all come with caching, right? Which we always want caching for our websites, but not so much for something like a membership site. So with SiteGround, you deactivate your SG Optimizer if you had that and turn off Memcache. Bluehost uses Varnish. They say that you can turn that off, or you can talk to them and they'll turn it off. WP Engine, same thing. You can have them turn off certain caching aspects. So there was like a whole list of stuff that would work okay, but caching. So this again, to me, in looking at that, made me realize you probably wouldn't want this membership section, or to be a section in a regular website, because you certainly want your regular website, your business website, to be cacheable. You want to cache for speed, but you don't want this to be cached. So you can certainly link in between them as separate sites, but you don't want to put them together, I don't think, just because of that one issue. All right, so MemberPress, ridiculously easy to set up. I wouldn't agree with that even when I did something super basic. It's ridiculously easy if you do not have any needs. They have a little video, it's like a 5-minute video, and you will have something up and running very quickly, but it probably won't serve your purposes. So, take that with a grain of salt. Tons of access rules. I'm going to show you that stuff. Easily build and sell courses. Coupons that don't suck. They do have a coupon. They demonstrate one of those on their website, so I'll show you that. Coupons that time out, which is handy, of course. Oh, look, premium community forums. How did I miss that? Oh, with BBPress, thank you. Whoops, how did I miss that? Yeah, integrating BBPress. So there you go. That was kind of what I was thinking was the solution for that. Pricing pages, works with anything pretty much. You can drip content. So if you're doing a course where you want everybody to start at the same time and end at the same time, and maybe you just drip out this week's stuff, it has that feature as well. You can create affiliate programming for your own stuff. This isn't for MemberPress. This is for you creating an affiliate program for your membership site or your course. Simple payment gateway integration, really easy. Just get the API from your Stripe account and off you go. I don't want to bore you on this stuff. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything here. They've got FAQs that you can check out before you make purchase. There's also pre-sale questions you can check out. So I don't have to go through all that. Let's see, here's pricing. This is their coupon. So it's really a banner with a timeout, a time element, whatever we want to call that, countdown clock. The funny thing about this is limited time offer does not really mean limited time. Every time I come back here, this thing renews. And part of that probably is because they want the coupon there to demonstrate that functionality, but it's always $179 to start. It's always this price to start. So it's not really limited time. And then so what I got from my client was the basic plan, normally $279. So when he renews, he'll pay full price, but it was $179 to start. Yeah, this is like, for the pro, you only get 3 sites. So that seems weird to me, but anyway, there was really no way to license it as an agency, I don't see. So I just bought this for them. Unlimited members, unlimited memberships, unlimited restricted content, unlimited courses. That's pretty awesome. I guess it depends on the limitations of the hosting you select. So tons of features. Coupons, I'm just gonna look through this, make sure I'm not forgetting an important topic. Password strength meter. Somebody said that Ultimate Press didn't require strong. This one has the feature. I haven't tested to see if you could go against it, but it's nice to have that. Let's see. I don't need that. Their customer support to me seems really good. Again, that was actually some of the complaints. The handful of complaints I saw were about customer service and them not getting back to them in a reasonable time. I don't know, maybe they've improved it since then because it seems pretty comprehensive to me. Their knowledge base, the documentation that you can access very easily is comprehensive. There's tons of videos, which I love, and they're adding new ones all the time. You can create support tickets. You can get in touch with them directly. So I think it looks pretty good. I haven't had to use it, but that to me looked pretty decent. So this is my client's website. I did not create the site, but I've been fussing around and doing things to it for the last year or a year and a half. You'll notice at the very top here, I had created a little text menu at the top, and we have something called member login. Now you can do a login, you can place a little member login link just using the MemberPress plugin. However, I did use 2 additional plugins that they suggest, and one of them is called, I think it's Login or Logout plugin. That's like the whole name. And what that allows you to do is put member login anywhere you want in different places. So I actually have a form here to log in. You can log out, most especially to log out. Once you're logged in and you want to log out, it's in like 3 different places. So that little extra plugin makes that possible. And I'm going to show that to you in a second. So if you want to log in, I know it's extra wide here. So for this situation, a little overview on this use case. He had already started a course and had already received payment, and then came to me after they were already into it and said, can you create a member area? So I was kind of in a hurry to get this done. So I was learning and creating at the same time. Claire and I were saying, you know, after you get going in something, you kind of think, well, I probably would have done this differently. And I probably would have at least done a few things differently. But we just created 1 username and 1 password for everybody. It was like a handful of 8 people. It was a finite amount of time. The course is already done. And really all we wanted was to be able to put up videos that they had recorded during their course sessions. So we put the videos up on Vimeo and hid those completely from the public. And then I was able to get those links and put them into the membership page. So if you go there and you click login, it takes, I'm trying to figure out which template this is using. I think it's the single page template. You can create custom templates to use for your membership pages if you want. That's much hairier than I will probably ever get into. But we have just the basic setup with this sidebar. We wanted some of this information available to people. So you notice when I've logged in, if this was my own personal profile, I'd put my name, first name, last name, my email, and say save profile. And you can view any subscriptions you've created, payments. This is me playing around with stuff because it's kind of funny. This one is free, so it is actually showing that. There's no courses. I just loaded that today, so that showed up. And again, you can log out here, but I made logout options show up on the top. That's what that login or logout plugin does. It automatically switched to logout once you're logged in. So let me go back to home. Well, I didn't even have to do that. I went back to home and we just set up this link here to make it obvious for people where to go. But we also up here have members area. It's the same thing. Notice this members area was not there in the menu when I wasn't logged in, and it just appeared as I logged in. So here we have, hello, we have videos. I don't know why those aren't showing up. So they can come here and check out their videos. We also gave them the deck to download. So you can put anything behind here that you want. You can create a ton of web pages and just set them up to be hidden behind this wall. And it's pretty cool, I think. So that's honestly kind of embarrassingly the extent of the membership. The course is over now, and they still have access to this with that one login and password. We did not use the features like allowing them to just log in and create their own account, but I can take you through the menu. I noticed WordPress just updated. I have to go through and catch all those. So about halfway down, I've got the MemberPress menu item, and you see there's just they have a lot of stuff, a lot more than Ultimate Press. I'm going to click that just to have that menu inset. Was there a question? I'm sorry, I have my bar hidden, so if there's a chat question, I'm not seeing it right now. So for the membership that I used for my client, I just named it Cohort Group 1. Nothing super special. But I went ahead and created for today a bronze membership, a gold membership, and a silver membership. So this is what I had to wrap my mind around. Each of those are different memberships, but like say you have a course, SEO, how to SEO your website, and you want to offer different levels, bronze, silver, and gold. So you have to create a separate membership here, membership for each of the levels. And then what you'll do is put them into a group, and you may call the group the SEO mega course or whatever you want to call it. So to create a membership, you would just click Add New. I'm just going to show you one that I have. And it's all the same interface, WordPress, that you're all used to using. This is information that will show up at the top of the page, because you have to imagine this is going to ultimately end up on one of those pages that has the three things, right? This kind of setup. So if I'm just starting out with bronze, it's going to be just this one. So what do I want to put above the list of features? You don't have to put anything. I just threw some text in there. You put the heading in there, the name of the level, and it's going to use that as the permalink. Over on the right here, you automatically can just add the pricing. You can decide whether it's recurring or one time. You can set up your intervals for how often. I think monthly is probably pretty common. Some people, they got really deep into this trial period. I don't usually see that very much, but you can add a trial period and it opens up a bunch more options. And you can use custom page templates like I mentioned before, but that's above my pay grade right now. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. So once you get this set up here, and then you go down here to the bottom of each membership, you have the membership options. It's interesting because I have thank you for signing up for the bronze plan. I think that's what happens once they have signed up. Again, don't have this all down perfectly, but it offers you, yeah, that's the thank you page. So it's very basic. You might want to put a little more in there than that. Permissions, who can see the gold member, or what am I on gold, I think. Everyone, guess members. It would be members only. And then you can see right away it starts popping up who currently have active memberships or currently have gold. So that's the permission you would set for that. And here's the price box. So they give you a little bit of a preview of what it's going to look like. And I already have this set up. So the title is bronze. Pricing display is automatic. So it's going to show the pricing even though it doesn't show over here. And then the features, so the benefits, and you just keep hitting this plus sign to add, you know, whatever feature. And then you can rearrange them however you'd like. And you can see that's what's going on up here. And then there's some, you can put text after the list if you're so inclined. Some people like to keep this really simple and clean. And then what do you want the text on the button? If it just says sign up by default, but maybe you want to change it. Yes, sign me up. And do you want it in the header, the footer, or both? So I just put it for both. And that means the header and the footer of the price table, the little, this box here. So we have yes, sign me up at the top and yes, sign me up at the bottom. And then you just update or publish if it's the first time. I'm in a house with a lot of people using internet, so I'm kind of subject to that. So once you get all those memberships created, like I did, the gold, silver, the bronze, gold, silver, you can see I have the pricing set up for each per month. And then you want to go, if you want to create, this is really only if you want to create one of those tables, you're going to go into groups and you're going to group it together. So I created, I have a cohort group, but we ended up just having one thing. So I don't think it necessarily needed to be created, but it may have needed that for something down the road. I probably had a reason for making it a group. But for the ones I'm showing you now, website course membership. This is a group. And I think down below here, you tell it what memberships that you created you want to be a part of this grouping. Because you could even add, if you wanted to do platinum, you could add a fourth one. If you had created a platinum membership, then it would be available here as a fourth option. So, and you can again rearrange these how you want them to appear. Oh, and also I had selected in the membership, the silver membership, there was an option to highlight it. And highlighting it means, well, it's a little different color and it says this is the most popular one. So you can do that kind of thing. This is the upgrade path I was talking about. If you want people to be able to upgrade by themselves without contacting you, just by ticking that and then saying reset the billing period, they will, all that will be automatically handled for you. The prorating, if they're in the middle of a pay cycle already and they upgrade, it all gets handled between this program and your payment authorization company like Stripe. It's all handled for you. Now downgrade, this doesn't actually allow, this is the question mark I have. I don't think, you can either set a specific plan they downgrade to, like if you have, this would make sense to me if you have a free version and say they don't update their credit card and now you're not receiving payments from them anymore. They would automatically go into maybe the free version, or if you leave it by default, they just can no longer access membership. So it's not something they can downgrade on their own. Like I say, I'm in gold and I really want to go down to silver. That's not an option. You can always upgrade, but they can't downgrade like that. So if somebody wanted to, you'd probably have to do it manually. I'm not entirely sure about that. It has a bunch of themes for the pricing tables. These are super, super basic. You really are going to need to CSS these. I used minimal. Is that the one I have? No, I think I did classic for the one I'm going to show you. But here you can do CSS. You can put classes right in here for the button, for the highlight, you know, button highlighting, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I would definitely do a lot. I'd probably do a lot of CSS with this. Let me see. Yeah, so here's the resulting page. Now, keep in mind, this is a live site, and I did not want to mess with the text of these because I didn't want to screw up headings on other pages. But obviously, you would want to fix the font size of these prices. But here you can see I made silver highlighted, which means it's a different color and it's labeled most popular. Here's that text above. Remember I said there was some text that was going to be above them, and the text below them didn't show up. So I'm not really sure what happened with that. But with bronze, here's where the yes, sign me up, the buttons are at the top and the bottom. And here's what I put in for the bronze option. And here's what I put at the bottom for the bronze. Was perfect for getting your feet wet. And then the silver really should say everything in the bronze plus, and then some more listed items. And then gold, everything in the silver plus, whatever else you want to offer. I do not have payment set up, so this will take me to a very basic looking page. Yes, I want the gold. I'm going to put my name and first name and last name. And do you have a coupon, which I don't. And you can put in any kind of text here if you want to give your, you know, one more pitch to, you know, yeah, go ahead and do this, purchase it. Yes, sign me up. This is where you would actually go to do a purchase of it, but I don't have any payment methods set up right now, so it didn't do any of that, but they would go on from there. So that's memberships and groups. Tell me if I'm going too long, Claire.
I do have a couple questions.
Can you go ahead?
They were about the pricing table. So I think it's really interesting that I think it's great that it generates this pricing table for you, that it just assumes you're going to have a pricing table and then allows you, you know, helps you make it. So, okay, if you're logged in as a member and you're looking at the pricing table, does it know which one you're already at? Like, does it tell you like you are here?
Good question. I don't know, but it seems like it should, because it's smart enough to understand that you're upgrading and to recognize the new date and to adjust payments accordingly.
Yeah,
so,
I love that it does that. I'm just wondering about the user experience of changing your level. Like, do you always, if I wanted to upgrade or downgrade, would I have to do it through the pricing table, or is there an option in my profile to like just hit an upgrade or a downgrade button?
All right, now you're getting beyond my quick table.
Okay, I'll shut up.
I know, it's good. These are good questions because I hadn't thought about it. But yeah, I want to look into that.
If you look at the user profile, I believe there's a subscription tab there.
Okay.
And that tells them what
yeah, there is. That's what hold on, I log out. I didn't mean to do that. But you're right. If you go back to your profile page, you have subscriptions.
Okay.
So it's possible at this point that you would have options to upgrade here.
Okay.
You also can see what payments you've made. So because I don't have that set up, I don't know, but okay. I'd like to look that up and find out, because you're right. You want it to be easy for them, and I'm hoping it is easy. Otherwise, why offer it? Because they're going to be contacting you anyway because they won't understand it.
Yeah, it seems like they have a lot of stuff built in to make it easy. So hopefully,
yeah,
like that is there.
Good question. What else?
Oh, that was it. I just wanted to ask about, you know, if you're not looking at the pricing table, how do you know what your subscription is? That was my question.
Right. So when they first log in, they land in their profile home. Actually, you can cause it when they log in to land on another page, maybe like the beginning page of their, whatever their membership is, their home page. But I think it's a good idea to have them come into their account and then they can go from there. Like I said, you know, I set it up to have this link to the members area, which is the same as this up here, just making it available to them. You want Logout to be an option that's easily found. I thought I put one in the sidebar, but it doesn't look like it. But you've got Logout here, which comes with the plan, comes with the plugin. The Logout up here and in the footer is because of that extra plugin I was talking about. Bum, bum, bum. What? Oh, because it has, okay, it sees me logged in. That's the other thing. Bouncing back and forth as an administrator and trying to see the user experience, it sees me as logged in as a subscriber. So it's not giving me access to what I want. So what I have to do is log out as that person. Let's see if it'll keep me logged in as me. And I got to re-log in as me. So what I usually do, and this is true, like you can't just open another Chrome, like I'm in Chrome now. You can't open another Chrome browser and try and have one set up one way and one the other way. I've been using Firefox for one and Chrome for the other. So I kind of screwed up my little demo there because I have that set up in Firefox. So again, going to plugins. They have a ton of stuff here. Log in or log out menu item. So that's what that's called. They actually suggested that one. And I have the MemberPress basic plugin. I just added the courses, which is an add-on, which I'll show you in a minute. Menu items visibility. I can't honestly remember where that came from. I think it's a separate menu thing to hide, show and hide menus. It may have been suggested from Elegant Themes, I'm not sure, but that helps with that, you know, how when you're logged in, you can see new items in your menu. Also, if I go to the menu page, you have the login logout item, which it's just smart. It just knows all you have to do is place it in whatever menus you want. Like here's the text menu at the top. You could put it in other menus as well to make it more available. It's just a smart thing that knows log in, log out. Then you have here memberships. And you can do things like add these to your menus as well. I just confused myself because I see the members area here, which is only visible when you're logged in. So there's some code here that I grabbed from somewhere. I apologize because I did this like 3 months ago. So I don't mean to be confusing you, but what you can see is there's just a lot. There's a lot to this. So let me just go back into MemberPress and the rules. I'll just kind of give you a quick little view into that and how many there are. So protected content, how do you want to protect it? You have all these options for how you want it protected. You can do it based on tags, categories, posts, just single posts that you can select. You can create as many of these as you want. So you can get real specific if you need to, and then just add more general ones as well. Just a ton of things. You can do child pages, which would be super handy because you could say child pages of, you know, and it'll just show you child pages of, and you can type in, you know, I don't know what page it'd be here, but if this were a page, child pages of this page that came up, what's the condition? They have to have a membership and they have to be a member of what to have access. So it's pretty cool. Very specific. Again, to me, this is like, you'll know it when you need it, kind of thing. Here's the partial content codes. There are a lot of shortcodes, and you can find, they provide you shortcodes right in the interactive screen, which is nice. And then you can also find shortcodes in their documentation as well. So, and then it explains what those shortcodes are, so you can add that to your pages. So not only does it get applied to what page it uses and creates automatically, but you can also take it like that pricing table. It's going to show up in a page that's dynamically generated. But if you want that pricing table on 3 other pages, you can just take the shortcode for that and go ahead and put it on other pages as well. So that's super cool. And it will update as you update it. You can enable drip content, like I had mentioned. And if you have a time where the course ends, you can set an expiration. So tons of stuff there. Coupons is pretty awesome. Yeah, I don't want to save any of that. So I showed you what their coupon is. This is their coupon. Notice it's always, just so you know, don't worry, it's the special price is not going away. But this is how it looks on their purchase page with the coupon. Welcome $100 off, special offer. And then it says have a coupon, but I guess you can create other types of coupons. Again, I didn't have a need for that, so I haven't done it, but just to know that the functionalities there is super cool. Add your card payment information. I lost my MemberPress. Again, I just wanted to quick get into go through these menu items really fast. Coupons, courses. Again, I just installed that today, so that's why that's there. I haven't looked at it at all, but I'm hearing really good things about it. Reminders are for if they seem to have fallen off the course, they haven't been around for a while, or if their credit card is going to expire, you can set that as well. How cool is that? You can view members, the subscriptions that you have. You can view transactions. Of course, I don't have any money, but there's been some things that have happened. Sans money. You can create reports. Super cool. This is settings is like the main thing here. When you first get in, you're going to want to set up, and the first thing is your license. So you're going to put in your license key and all that stuff. And then you can go through each of these. You take your time with them. They have everything that you need is already set up by default. It's just not pretty, and it's not custom to your needs, but you know, they do have a thank you page, an account page, a login page, that kind of thing. So you can just use those. You can style those, or you could create your own. I disabled the WordPress admin bar. So what normally happens if you didn't do that is they would see that that WordPress admin bar at the very, very top, and they could actually go into their WordPress user profile, and they could see other things like the menu on the side and all that. But I don't want them to see that, because to me, it kind of ruins the membership feel. So you can hide that admin bar. Allow members to cancel their own subscription, of course. Keep members out of the WordPress dashboard, which is kind of the same thing. And just a lot of things turn on or off. All kinds of stuff. Here's the password strength meter. And then just URLs. There's stuff content you can put at the top. I think this is the what shows up on there. It looks like it would show up on the member area page. I thought it was on their profile page. Anyway, all kinds of stuff. Fields, payments. You can set up your payment methods here. I would suggest Stripe for that. PayPal is a secondary. These are all the automated emails you can set up to trigger for certain activities. Tons of stuff there. Marketing, I wouldn't worry about that. Courses. So feel like there was something, oh, add-ons. So there's quite a few add-ons, and for some reason, all the major like theme frameworks like Beaver Builder, Divi, Elementor, they have their own special add-on. So I don't know what happens if you don't use the add-on. I did use it for the Divi site, and I don't know, I'm not having any problems. So they have those things that are specific to those frameworks, which is nice. So I have activated the Divi MemberPress add-on, and also I activated the courses. I wanted to see if it truly did come for free, not for free, but included in the price, and it does. So that comes with it, which is pretty amazing. And obviously you can get going with some email add-ons. You can do this for the importing of the other members from other places. I think it uses the CSV spreadsheet kind of format to import. You can do CAPTCHA. And then it integrates with a ton more stuff. Basically, you name it, it does it. Let me see if I can find, I had a page open of everything. I don't want to make you dizzy. Dun, dun, dun. Known third-party integrations. That is not what I was looking for. It was more like icons. But you can see, anyway, it's a ton of, oh, gamification. That would be super cool to be able to add into your courses. That's really big right now. Payment gateways. Look at all, tons of stuff here. Samcart, I've never used. So it's calling those extensions, and they have pre-sale questions as well. So I think these are actually pretty helpful. Oh, plugin conflicts. This is where I happen to notice Astra came up. Problem, MemberPress login form shows up in the header and or footer of a page. The issue is present in the Astra free theme and newer or Astra Pro add-on, and then it gives you a solution for that. Same Avada and some other things. It doesn't sound like anything major. So I know several people here use Astra. So I hope that wasn't too boring. That's my story. Any questions to this point?
Can you describe what the site that you built is for? It's got a course on it, right?
It is really just a holding place for videos of courses he did. He did not do the course through this website. He did it through Zoom and then sent me the videos, and I uploaded them to Vimeo to make them available to insert into a web page. So I just created a basic web page and hid it behind the membership. So this website is, he works with sales teams. So he's very much not looking for just somebody out there searching for his services. It's really going to be, all his clients come to him based on connections and that kind of thing. And he works with high-level sales teams to improve their sales and productivity, that kind of thing. It's a bit over my head, and I've been working with this guy for 15 years. I feel like saying, can you just tell me what you do? Which is really bad because I've worked with him for so long. But he speaks a lot. He does one-on-ones with people every day. And yeah, so this was just one part that he wanted to add. And in fact, the course that he was doing is done, but it's good that we have this set up now, because I'm going to have a meeting with him and tell him all the things that I think he could use it for, so we can hopefully expound and expand on what we've done so far. Long as I've spent the time learning, I might as well use it, right?
Right, get paid for it.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a lot more money than me, but still.
So he is So he wants to basically restrict the people who can see his videos by using the subscriptions.
Yeah.
So by giving out subscriptions to the people who he's working with.
What I'd like him to do, like I said, I just created one login and password because he was already in the middle of the class. It was really awkward, but I would like to be able to set it up where people set up their own profile. The thing is, you don't want just every Tom, Dick, and Harry coming to set up a profile. So there's that issue as well, if you want to make that public or not. That was actually one of the reasons we just created one login for everybody.
Does anybody have any questions about anything we've talked about so far? Or does anybody have a membership website that they've worked on that they want to show off?
Or does anybody know more about this than me? I'm happy to hear from you if I said anything wrong or.
It seems like a good competition for the WooCommerce suite, which is, it tries to do a lot of those basic functions with a lot of plugins that if you put it all together, it seems like this is more coordinated together, and they probably spend a lot less money that way.
I thought 179 for the first year and what was it, 279 thereon. I think that's a really good price for everything it does.
Yeah, with the WooCommerce suite, you spend like 50 here, 49 here, and then 100 here, and by the time you got it all together, you've spent a fair amount.
Yeah, you get nickeled and dimed. And
WooCommerce, it's Ken, can I just paste your comment that you wrote earlier into the chat? It was, you listed the plugins that people need if you're going to do the same thing with WooCommerce. So it's memberships and subscriptions. So you would need the free WooCommerce, and then you would need memberships and subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me copy paste your comment that you made into the general chat.
Okay.
Oh, no, guys, that's.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's other like the other plugin that, let me see, Ultimate Member on their website, because they're so uninterested in doing subscriptions, actually directs you to this plugin called Restrict Content Pro, which seems like the same sort of thing, but less perhaps everything in the kitchen sink than MemberPress is. It seems more focused on just the subscriptions and the content restriction.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I was thinking this isn't for everybody, you know, and for your clients, it's like you definitely want to have a conversation with exactly what they want to accomplish and maybe where they see it going. Because when they make that purchase, they're not going to want to turn around and purchase something more extensive because you didn't buy enough, or you bought too much and they don't need it.
And if you're just starting out with one of these plugins, you're looking at 4 to 5 hours just to do a basic setup sometimes and figure out how to set up a flow like your client might want. And that's a significant investment to be looking at the wrong thing for that amount of time.
Like you said, honestly, just to do the little bit that I did, because this is my first foray into memberships, that was several hours of reading and research.
Yep, mine too. Ultimate Member supposedly, when you install it and turn it on, is supposed to create all those pages for you, the profile page, the registration page, login page. Out of the 4 times I have installed it, I did that once, and the other times I had to go in and just basically follow their video and do all the setup myself. Like for some reason, the automatic setup didn't trigger. So yeah, it's just messing around with these plugins. They're so complex. Just messing around with them is hours of work.
What I was really pleased with was there was no wonkiness. I can't stand when it's like, well, it should work and it doesn't. Refresh 10 times and on the 11th it finally works. Whatever. There was none of that. So I was really pleased with that. Feels really solid to me. And honestly, there's a few courses that I want to create. I will buy this when I'm ready to do that. I think it's that I like it that much. And again, it's like, I don't know all those things, but I know I'm going to be like, I need it to do this. And I'll search the rules and find just the rule I need.
This is definitely something where you want to get a solid list of requirements, technical requirements from your client.
For your client.
And like even have them sketch out what they think the flow should be from sign up to whatever the person is doing on the site through upgrading and everything. Because you might not have the level of control over that you think you might have with the plugin.
Right. Good point. Good point. And there were some good questions, that I honestly, I'm going to have to look up as far as user interface for like upgrading their membership or canceling their membership. Like, how easy is that? We want it to be really easy.
With my project I just completed, we had to do a lot of customization in the last week, basically because just things like emails that were getting sent, email notifications like weren't clear where you should click. If you like just the flow through some pages, you had to go in and tweak it a lot so that it was crystal clear to the user where they were and where they wanted to be. And that, like I said, that was probably several days of customizations at the end of the project once the testers actually got in there and really started clicking around.
Yeah.
If you're opening up your site to at this level of sort of technical complexity to random people, who don't necessarily know WordPress or haven't seen your site before, you have to be really, really careful about how simple it is for them to find their way around.
Well, and this kind of guarantees my monthly fee from him. He's a maintenance guy, but also he pays extra. I'm just kind of on call for a certain number of hours. So he fully expects me to do this. He wants nothing to do with this. He just wants somebody to make it work. So I'm that person, which is fine. And I enjoy learning that. It's nice to learn something new and that I feel like I can wrap my mind around. I didn't feel like this was like I was getting so stuck and like Googling so much. I felt like I could learn it easily enough. Pat?
It's the ideal customer.
That's how I bill myself.
The ideal vendor.
Yeah. So Nancy M, that was actually the other Nancy's gone. That was all in Divi.
Yes.
And Elegant Themes, that actually pushed me over because Elegant Themes, that was their #1 suggestion. So I went for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was just wondering while you were talking, if you could embed some of the MemberPress short codes into like the theme builder. So I think
I would think so.
Yeah. So that might blow your mind.
Again,
you can change out that banner really quick.
Girl, don't make my head blow up. But yeah, once you get into something, you're like, oh, this is easy, and someone else's set is blowing up. It's all easy when you know it.
Yeah, it can blow up fast. I used MemberPress for the client wanted a demo page of some software that they had, and they wanted to use Gravity Forms to sign up and MemberPress, and they also wanted to give the users the option whether to sign up for their email newsletter. So that got complicated really fast. And I ended up using, I used a plugin called, let me see, Automator. And it really helped me step through, tie all of those components together.
That's good to know.
You mentioned that plugin in your presentation. last month or the month before, you know.
Yeah, I think I have that written down by my desk actually, because I remember you talking about that.
The memberships also, they wanted it as a 7-day demo, and then to have it send out, you've got 3 days left, you've got 1 day left. And actually that worked out really well.
You can do that, yeah. That's super cool. I just love it when software is so smart.
I gotta say, when I set up a site using the WooCommerce membership and subscription, and the emails was kind of the biggest part I had trouble with. Like, it did not send, and it could have been a conflict with some other plugin or, you know, the theme, but it did not send the reminder emails when you thought it was going to.
It was supposed to. So Trish, it sent the emails out as you expected?
Yes, it worked really well.
Good. Good to know. I didn't see there's some chat. Paid Membership Pro.
Yeah, I'm putting those on the I'm gonna put those on my demo site. Features.
That's another one. This is another one I saw in a lot of review site, you know, review articles. Does somebody use this?
I do.
Eric, yeah, can you talk about it a little? Eric?
Yes.
Yeah. So Paid Membership Pro, I went with it. It worked well for my needs. I needed something that I could easily integrate with BBPress, that I could integrate with. I set up something like Trish did. I did a Gravity form registration, sign up for MailChimp, create the membership, because they needed custom user fields in MailChimp. They wanted to collect things that I suggested they didn't. Thank you, users. So I went with Paid Memberships Pro. For my own personal uses, I'm using WooCommerce memberships. Because I was already running subscriptions and deposits and all of that on my live site for taking payments for my freelance business. Access Ally actually is the one that comes recommended better. If you're going to do any kind of learning management system, look at Access Ally, and I threw a link up there. I did a Chris Lima event a couple months ago, and he was demoing Access Ally, and it's slick.
I like to listen to Chris Lima. If he likes something, it's part of why I went into Beaver Builder.
I used Paid Memberships Pros many years ago for a class that I wrote, and it did a lot of what we've seen here today in both of these demos. People could register, they could create their own accounts, they could create their own passwords, automatically build them. You could do renewal billing. Back then I had it integrated with PayPal. That was like 5-6 years ago.
And there's a free version of Paid Membership Pro that does quite a bit.
Yes.
I noticed the Access Ally is pretty pricey. It was $82 a month for the lowest plan. So I'm sure it is good.
Yeah. You're paying for
Chris Lema has the money.
All right, I put all those notes in on the demo site. Cool. Thanks for those recommendations, everyone.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting me yammer. It went on way longer than I thought I would.
Oh, this was really good.
It was a useful
guys.
yammer.
I really enjoyed this. This was a really good one. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think so. Yeah. This is I feel like we could do the same thing again with the other plugins people mentioned, because when you need to choose one of these, it's really a time-consuming process. And I've certainly had the experience where I got halfway through and decided that I was doing it wrong and should have done something else to begin with. So the more information you have, the better.
Live and learn.
Yeah.
Make mistakes and learn. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Always
recording
remember,
now.
no matter how far you've gone down the wrong road, turn back.
You know, you do. You get to that point, like, I don't know, turn back, start over, force my way through, whack my way through the weeds.
All right.
Kathy, you're the host, so you have to stop recording or hand it back to me.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if I can go to my client and be like, hey, do you have like $20,000 so I can rebuild this from scratch?